الفرد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد مالك الملك يؤتي الملك من يشاء وينزع الملك ممن يشاء يعز من يشاء ويذل من يشاء بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير سبح له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم له ملك السماوات والأرض يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن وهو بكل شيء عليم وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين تركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك شرح الله له صدره ووضع عنه وزره وأعلمه أن مع العسر يسرا وأمره أن إذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي المقصرة بتقوى الله وأحذركم ونفسي من عصيانه ومخالفة أمره لزوما لقوله الحق تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وكذلك في قول الحق تبارك وتعالى يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. My brothers and sisters, Walillah alhamd, we concluded the month of worshipping, the month of Ramadan. And Walillah alhamd, many of us are probably engaged in fasting the 6 days of Shawwal. Walillah alhamd, also we felt the impact of the spiritual growth during the month of Ramadan. But to talk about the spiritual dimension and fulfillment of ibadat, and especially the month of Ramadan only, and ignoring what is happening to us as an ummah is not just. Because this is not what the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal is all about. The deen of Allah is not about fulfilling mechanical worshipings and ibadat. It's not about being only engaged of spiritual fulfillment actions that would make you feel good about yourself. It's about ensuring that your well-being, your existence, your role as a Khalifa on the earth is established properly. And within that context, I'll be sharing with you a few verses from Surah Al-A'raf in which the Mighty addresses the people of Shu'aib, radiyallahu anhu, alayhi salam. Because in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah Azza wa Jal goes into sequence of the prophets to talk about every challenge that the Prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal will be facing with his own people. And Shu'aib is one of the people who came after Nuh alayhi salam. And Allah, in the context of his story, which is presented in multiple places in the Quran, among them is in Surah Al-A'raf and Surah Hud, Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَإِلَى مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ شُعَيْبًا قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. Now, Shu'aib addressed his own people, and the first advice that he gave to them is the following: اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. Worship your Lord Allah, you have no other entity to worship. What does this mean? We hear this word a lot. اعبدوا الله, we are muwahidun, we are only submitting to the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. But in reality, we're not true muwahideen to Allah Azza wa Jal. What do I mean by this? We just concluded the month of Ramadan. And many of you probably have seen that clip that was sent viral, whereby they were saying that the tawaf around the Kaaba was halted, stopped, as a result of the massive crowd of people who attended Umrah in the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan. They were saying there was about 4 million people. In my assessment, there were about 6 million people, including the people who were inside the Haram, the mosque, and those who were outside filling the different streets surrounding the Haram, the Grand Mosque. But while I was sitting there, I was reflecting and contemplating and crying literally and saying, massive crowd, غثاء كغثاء السيل. We're just like the foam of the running water. What's the value? What's the point of having massive numbers when Muslims are being slaughtered in Palestine? What's the point of going into different acts of ibadat while the Muslim Ummah is in deep sleep, while the shrines of Islam are being invaded during the month of Ramadan? And recently, during the past week, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa was invaded multiple times, and no one seemed to be even bothered or raise a concern or show any attention or take any actions to prevent it from happening. U'budullah is a real meaning of surrendering and submitting to the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. By the way, the pagans of Mecca, al-mushrikeen, as Allah mentioned in the Quran, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهِ. If you were to ask them, who created the skies and the earth? They will tell you Allah. They are not denying the fact that Allah is the creator. But they don't want to say, La ilaha illallah. There is no ma'bud, no one worthy to be of our attention of ibadah. What's ibadah, by the way? يُعَبِّدُ الشَّيْء is to make that thing follow you. Ta'bid or ibadah is to surrender, to submit to the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. And that's what we have failed as a Muslim Ummah. And that's what the pagans of Mecca have failed. They don't want to be truly abidina lillah. They want to have other entities like what we have nowadays. We don't call them Hubal and different other names, like the statues that were surrounding the Kaaba around the time of the Prophet ﷺ. But we do have different entities now we worship, الدرهم والدينار. تعس عبد الخميصة، تعس عبد الدرهم، تعس عبد الخميصة، تعس وانتكس، وإذا انتكس وإذا شيك فلا انتكش. As the Prophet ﷺ indicated, misery be to the person who follows and worships the dirham and the dinar and the desires. That's nowadays what is with the Muslim Ummah. We have failed to truly surrender to the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. We have submitted to the fact that Allah is the creator. We get no problem with that. But when it comes Allah is the Razzaq, we have doubts. When it comes that Allah Azza wa Jal is the mighty, the one who can give and take and can intervene in certain circumstances, we are having doubts. We're having doubts that Allah Azza wa Jal said to us that no one can shorten your life and no one can prolong your life in this dunya. This is the real meaning of وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَهٍ غَيْرُهُ. Make your true submission, your full submission to be to Allah Azza wa Jal. And Allah would not be asking you to do anything except that something will be of an own benefit for you as a human being living with other human fellows in this planet that you're living on, that is called the earth. When Allah say to you, I am the Razzaq, nothing can prevent you from standing firm, like what happened with this employee of the big organization we are all aware of, who lost her job as a result of standing for haqq and justice. And she said, I am not going to compromise my principles and values. We need to have more of Muslims with similar beliefs to say that I'm not going to believe and compromise in my values because أنا أعبد الله وحده. I worship Allah Azza wa only, believe in His attributes and adjectives as a mighty. That's what the real meaning وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَحْدَهُ مَا لَكُم مِّنْ إِلَٰهٍ غَيْرُهُ قَدْ جَاءَتْكُم بَيِّنَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُم. There comes to you a clear sign. Shu'aib came after Nuh alayhi salam and lived in Madian, which is a known place historically. And there were clear demonstrated ayat, whether it's the drowning of the earth after Nuh alayhi salam or the ayat that Shu'aib have brought to his own people and told them, there is no doubt that the mighty is Allah Azza wa Jal, and He is the powerful. And that's exactly what we need to be reminded about as an ummah. It doesn't make sense when you see millions of people around one of the shrines of Islam. Their only attention is to take a selfie and make sure that they're doing their tawaf alive on social media. It doesn't make sense when you are by the Kaaba and fighting people around you and not respecting the elders or the integrity and hurumat of the sisters and trying to make your own way, pushing people around or fighting over Al-Hajar al-Aswad, because this becomes another huge crisis for the Muslim Ummah. People fighting literally and people losing their faith and losing their clothing as they're engaged into acts of nonsense. There's a principle, there are essence to our ibadat. You're going there to surrender to Allah Azza wa Jal and to fulfill your spirituality and connect with the mighty and have your du'as answered. Whether you are in the haram or you are in your local masjid, we need to go back to these real meanings. اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره قد جاءتكم بينة من ربكم. We have clear signs in the books of Allah Azza wa Jal. In the book of Allah, we have clear signs that Allah is the mighty, is powerful. He's the one who intervened to save Bani Israel from the aggression of Fir'aun la'natullahi alayhi. And then the following advice by Shu'aib to his own people was, وَأَوْفُوا الْكَيْلَ وَالْمِيزَانَ وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُم. Be just in your transaction with people around you. And you will see the connection between Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal and the global economy. We're not, as Muslims, living in vacuum. We're not isolated from what's happening around us in the globe we're living in. Allah is saying to us, we need to pay attention to the actions of those narcissists whose actions are now causing harm to their own people and to the rest of the people on earth. As Canadians, we need to be mindful and aware that what happens south of the border is not only affecting the people who are living in that country, it's affecting us as well. It's affecting the global economy. It's affecting the people who are living on this planet that we call the earth. And we need part of our deen to be involved. As the election is upcoming right now, you should not be passive. You should not be just focusing on your academic work or fulfilling your 5 daily salawat and be spiritually content and that's it. You should have more active role and find out who is who. What's your role? It's your responsibility to cast your vote for the person who is going to represent you as a Muslim Canadian, who represents Canada back again as a peace broker country, who brings back Canada to the central location it was in, who defends the affairs or the issues of those who are less fortunate around the globe. And CCM, Justice for All, many advocacy groups in our community have worked for us and rated all those who are running for elections and give you clear reading whom you should be voting for and what you should be aiming for. This is your responsibility. وَأَوْفُوا الْمِكْيَالَ وَالْمِيزَانَ وَأَوْفُوا الْكَيْلَ وَالْمِيزَانَ وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُم. It's all interconnected. This is the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. We're not, as I said, only doing mechanical ibadat and that's about it and then we move on in our life. And the following advice that Shu'aib gave to his own people, وَلَا تُفْسِدُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ بَعْدَ إِصْلَاحِهَا. Do not spread mischief on the earth after it was established in a beautiful way. بعد إصلاحها. ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين ولا تقعدوا بكل صراط توعدون وتصدون عن سبيل الله من آمن وتبغونها عوجا. And do not stand in every path preventing people from the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is not only applying to those who are fighting the deen of Allah, It applies to every single one of us. Are we on the right path of da'wah to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, or we're distracting from the da'wah to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal? This is something we need to reevaluate. As you can see, the message of Shu'aib alayhi salam was not a passive message of being in the corner of the masjid, worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, being altruistic and forget all about what is happening around you as if you're not concerned. This is not a choice anymore. Those who are being killed in Gaza now are human beings with feelings, with needs to live with in their life. They're not aliens, they're not another species. And they're only being killed, whether in Gaza or in Dhaffa right now, for simple reason. وَمَا نَقْمُ مِنْهُمْ إِلَّا أَن يُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ. They're being subjugated to this only because they believe in the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal, Al-Aziz, Al-Hamid. My brothers and sisters, addressing you should be different than addressing people in the congregation of the masjid. Because you, the cream of the crop, you are the one who's the ummah is having a lots of expectations and hope on. Past that message, that stage of being an average Muslim, a passive person whose only concern is to live for the sake of living and get a degree for the sake of getting a nice job and only getting a job that can make you live a comfortable life, but rather live for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Live for the sake of Allah because life is very short. Allah knows when the time will come for us to leave this dunya. And whatever is happening to other Muslim fellows or other civilians on earth who are being less fortunate could not be prevented from us if we did not stand for justice and did not work on it. Get involved. It's not a choice for you anymore. Be involved with different advocacy groups, send emails, participate in demonstrations, make your voice heard, stand for those who are standing for justice, show them they're standing behind them. You yourself exercise boycotting to those big corporates and organizations that still up to nowadays fueling more money to kill civilians in Gaza. And quote me right, what is happening in Gaza is not a war. It's a genocidal act of cleansing people from their own land. The one who's being killed in Gaza are not fighters. The one who's being killed in Gaza are children. Parents are now struggling to collect the different parts of the bodies of their own children. Children are right now crying as they're collecting the different parts of their own parents. F-16s are not being waged against tanks. It's not being waged against fighters who have sophisticated weapons. It's dropping bombs on tents that barely enough to protect these people who are living in it from the sun or the cold weather. Right now, the whole world is pretending to not be aware that Gaza has been living in siege and no food, no water, no medication made its way to Gaza. Is this the 21st century we all hope to be living in? Is this the advanced society that we're supposed to be living in? Now we're living in a jungle. It's a reality we need to accept. The whole world is becoming a jungle. If you are powerful, you're able to survive. If you're not, too bad for you. Empower yourself as a Muslim by connecting with the mighty Allah Azza wa Jal. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فهو يغفر المستغفرين. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا وسيئات اعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا ان الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا ايها الذين امنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم وبارك اللهم على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم في العالمين انك حميد مجيد اللهم ان عبيدك ابناء عبيدك ابناء امائك نواصينا يا رب بيدك ماض يا رب فينا حكمك عدل فينا قضاؤك نسالك اللهم بكل اسم هو لك سميت بنفسك انزلت أنزلته في كتابك وعلمته أحدا من خلقك أو استأثرت به في علم الغيب عندك بأن تجعل القرآن العظيم ربيع قلوبنا. Ya Allah, pray to you, supplicate to you to restore justice and peace in our hearts and to restore justice and peace on earth, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, make us from those who stand for justice, make us for those who stand for haqq. Ya Allah, make us from those who are supporting those who are undermined on the earth, Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Ya Allah, we pray to you and we supplicate to you, make us from those who are able to fulfill their duty and responsibility as Muslimin towards others around them. Ya Allah, we ask you to help us be able to pray in al-Masjid al-Aqsa آمنين مطمئنين in peace and tranquility فإنك على كل شيء قدير وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وأقم الصلاة. Just finish. Yeah?